Well, hello there. I'm Tania Kolar.
And I'm Peter Fona.
For this video, Peter and I were talking, we were chatting just before we started. We thought, it would just be interesting to talk about learning. We both, of course, consider ourselves to be lifelong learners. I believe everybody is a lifelong learner, but it's so important to be open to the learning process. I was telling Peter that I read a book many years ago. Peter has also read the same book many years ago, The Celestine Prophecy. And I actually watched the movie this time around, and I was like, oh, this is fascinating stuff. And although at the time I read the book, I mean, I got so much value from the book, and rereading the book many years later, I have a new understanding of some of the insights that were, put in the book. And that's why I say it's so important to always to be open to learning. We never know everything, or you're never going to know, it all, even though you think you do. And I certainly was one of those people. When I was 15, oh yeah, you couldn't tell me anything because I thought I knew everything. And now I've come to understand that I really don't know anything. I am open to learning in the moment, and every moment is different. I'm a new person in the next moment than I was a moment ago, and if 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. So it's really important to take the lessons that we have, continue to learn, because this is how we evolve. This is how we evolve to be a better version of ourselves. And really, isn't that the goal at the end of the day? We want to be our absolute best selves, so that we can feel happy and fulfilled, and extend our best self to the world around us and to our loved ones.
And, we live in a world of abundance. And the world of abundance contains everything is possible. Everything is possible in there. And so the more we are aware of that, the more we are aware we don't know anything. And of course, we know a lot, but compared to the abundance, it's such a little part which we are aware of that. It's exactly our environment where we are aware of it. But still, I love to say that again. We have 7.8 billion human beings on Earth. So we have 7.8 billion way of thinking, how behaviors, and so on, and so on, and so on. And only just for that, it's incredible just to sense that, go into this feeling of what does it mean to have such a huge range of possibilities. And I'm only talking about human beings. So, so I'm always very astonished when I watch a documentary film about nature, about animals. It's incredible what exists on this planet. And well, that reminds me of another book, the Black Stork, I think it's called. And here in Europe, it's here in Europe we only know the white stork, and we have never seen a black stork. And people were telling that's not that only exists a white stork and never a black one. And of course, in Africa they have the black ones. And so it's so obvious that we actually not know everything on this planet. And that's why we are lifelong learners. Actually, I love that that word, the lifelong learners, because being aware that I know this and that, but I'm aware that I don't know a lot about other topics, about other things, that makes me a wise man. And I want to tell you a wonderful story. I don't know why it came up, but when I think I was around 20, I always told other people I want to become a wise man once. I didn't know why that I had this desire, but being wise is something incredibly powerful, and it's something amazing. And I'm always observing things. I don't take it for granted for something, whatever, because I always can discover something new in the whole situation. Even if I experience these situations, I don't know, 100 times or more.
Yes, that is so true. Think about the last conversation that you had, perhaps in a group environment, somebody was talking about something that you knew something about, or maybe you knew a lot about that particular subject. So if you listen to that conversation and coming into it and approaching it with, I already know this stuff. And believe me, listen, I've done that so many times, right? But if you just take a pause, even though you may know as much as you know about that subject, and it's a lot, just let the other person speak. Give them that moment, give them their moment to shine, but listen and listen to it in a way that you don't know everything, because you might learn something from that exchange. Or I think it's really important to get the lessons through repetition in life. Repetition is so important. And when you're hearing that repetition, it can help to solidify. And maybe it is solidifying that, hey, yeah, you do know a lot about this subject, and that's great. But if you come into that conversation with that belief, you're really not going to hear everything that is being said. You're going to miss those little nuances. And it's those little nuances that can teach us the greatest lessons in life. So really try to take away the ego, because it's the ego that stands in the way. It's like, I already know this, I know everything. And I find myself challenged with situations like that with certain people. And what we would call them know-it-alls. And maybe I've been that person, I still am that person sometimes, and I have to remember I don't know everything, and neither does everyone else. But it's so important to learn what we can from each other. And sometimes the lesson is not the lesson that you were expecting to learn from the exchange, that verbal exchange, or communication of sorts, but you will learn something. But you have to be open to it. And so just remember that every person that you meet, every conversation that you have, every nod hello to the stranger passing you by on the street, those are opportunities to learn or to teach. So we're all either learning or teaching all the time, or sometimes both in that exchange. And just be open to it, because that is a golden opportunity. This is how we evolve as beings, and to really be our best selves. So it's a beautiful thing to be a learner and to truly listen with the intention of learning something, whatever that something might be for you.
Of course. And to underline what Tania said now, I just want to give a wonderful example. Tania, now I'm going to show you something and you will tell me what you see.
What do I see? So I see a cell phone with the cameras that allow connection for people. I see a device that can connect you with the world, and I just simply see a phone. I see my friend holding a phone.
Maybe that's a phone, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What I can see is I can see a wonderful picture with a rainbow, and I can see some
Yeah.
different apps.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
what I mean is, even if we talk about the same topic or about the same subject, you have your point of view, I have my point of view, and that's what I love to have in a wonderful conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the topic from different point of views, because you, Tania, you will see that you will describe this topic or this object from your point of view, because
Mm-hmm.
based on your experiences, based on your life. But I will explain that from my point of view, from how I'm familiar with that. And maybe, of course, you will talk it from the Canadian way, and I will talk about the Swiss way. So, and who is right?
Yes.
Both are right. Both
Yeah.
are right.
Yeah.
And the more we are aware of that, I think we really can learn and we really can add some wonderful informations. And that's not only the only one thing. The other important thing is we are here on that planet to to have and to make experiences, to collect experiences. So we are lifelong learners, as Tania mentioned before. And be aware, from the time you were born until you will die, you will collect experiences in your whole life.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important, as you say, to, not make somebody else wrong for their opinion and, what they're explaining and what they know. As the great example, with the phone that, we both have that, interpretation based on what we are seeing, right? And it doesn't mean that either of us is wrong. We are explaining what we know and what we feel in that moment. So, continue to be a lifelong learner. Be open to the possibility that there's always something for you to learn in any given exchange. So just remember that we never know it all, and it's okay. It's okay to not know that, because we always try to feel, I think sometimes, that we have to know everything, because then we're not good enough, we're not smart enough. And that's not true, because there's so much to learn on this planet. I mean, if we were here for 10 lifetimes, we still wouldn't be able to figure it all out, right? So just know that you are a lifelong learner and you are where you need to be. Just be open to the possibility of evolving and learning from your day-to-day exchanges.
Oh, yes. And I want to bring up another topic about that. So, my experience is, how often does a person ask for a second time the same question if this person hasn't understood this answer before? In normal, they are asking maximum once again. And then they think it's on them that they are not able to understand the question. But they almost never aware it could be about my explanation I gave to you, Tania. So you haven't been able, because I was talking, I don't know, complete different language, which is really impossible to understand. And if you really want to know something, then ask. And don't care about what other people could think, that you are asking again and again and again. And because if you really want to know something, then ask until you can get the answer, until you can get the feeling, until you can do that. Please don't stop doing that. I think it's a wonderful gift I got when I was that little, because I was asking millions or maybe billions of questions, and that's what I know from my parents. But I always wanted to know, and I think that brought me to that point where I'm now.
Yes, absolutely. Be open to continuing to move forward, even though you may not even get the answers. The answers are there. And let's take a look and model ourselves from the universe. The universe is always, 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 giving us an opportunity to learn. If we didn't get the lesson the first time, that comes back around in a different way for you to learn that lesson, right? So, it's so important to be open to that. It really ties into a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. We can talk about that in another video, but again, it's so important to have and maintain a growth mindset versus fixed and locked into what you believe is your limitation and what you believe that right? We're always open to learning. So become a lifelong learner. Enjoy the moments, even though they're tough lessons sometimes. Be open to learning. We thank you for tuning in. We're out of time for this video, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.